There's a certain degree of codependence here. Why Joe Rogan hasn't just flat out left Spotify and start his own podcast company. Joe Rogan will continue to work with Spotify, but his podcast won't be exclusive to the streaming service. Joe Rogan and Spotify announced a multi-year deal, which is estimated to be worth $250 million. As per the deal's renewal, his show will be distributed on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and other platforms. Additionally, the agreement creates a sense of codependence, providing Rogan with a steady income and Spotify with a well-known face in the industry. Whether you love him or hate him, one name stands out in the ever-changing podcasting landscape: Joe Rogan. For the fourth consecutive year, his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, has been named the best podcast in 2023. Known for his candid remarks and a wide variety of guests, the acclaimed host, 56, has made a name for himself in the entertainment business. That is probably why Spotify recently renewed its deal with the podcasting behemoth, which is expected to be worth $250 million. But there would be some revisions. With the new multi-year deal, his show will now be able to be distributed on YouTube, Apple, and other podcasting platforms. It will no longer be exclusive as a result. This left many wondering, why hasn't Rogan just walked away from Spotify to start his own podcast company? Well, the answer is simple. The deal gives Spotify one of the most recognizable faces in the business while guaranteeing Rogan a reliable source of income. There is a certain amount of codependence here. To quote an industry executive, Joe Rogan's new multi-year Spotify partnership. According to the Spotify newsroom, the company has decided to stick with Joe Rogan. With the announcement of a new multi-year deal on Friday, the audio platform and music streamer continued their partnership with a controversial host of their most popular podcast. The new agreement will enable the distribution of Rogan's show, The Joe Rogan Experience, across various platforms such as YouTube and Apple Podcasts, indicating a shift in the industry's economics. Under the previous deal, it was only exclusive to Spotify. Although the deal's terms were not made public, the Wall Street Journal claimed that it might be worth up to $250 million in total. Spotify will manage the distribution and sales of ads. In a statement announcing the news, Spotify Newsroom stated that the show has continuously been the most listened to podcast worldwide. In an interview that accompanied the blog post, Rogan stated, "These conversations have changed the way I think about life immeasurably and continue to do so. I feel extremely fortunate to be able to do it." In 2020, Rogan revealed that he had inked a multi-year contract with Spotify valued at approximately $200 million, which made it one of the largest licensing agreements in the podcasting business, via the Wall Street Journal. Since its debut on December 24, 2009, The Joe Rogan Experience has produced over 2,200 episodes, with an average runtime of 2 to 3 hours. However, some of the show's content has sparked criticism against Rogan and Spotify. This is why Joe Rogan did not quit Spotify. Due to Joe Rogan's tendency to free associate about topics that he does not fully understand on his show, the host does pose issues for Spotify. For example, according to The Guardian in 2022, musician Neil Young threatened to take his music down from Spotify if the platform did not remove the host. Young claimed the host was disseminating incorrect information regarding the COVID-19 vaccine. Among the celebrities in attendance on his show were Quentin Tarantino, Eddie Izzard, Post Malone, Zach Bryan, Dave Chappelle, Dwayne Johnson, and Mike Tyson. In a Spotify interview, Rogan stated, "I never do a podcast just because a person is popular. It's always from a place of I think it would be cool to talk to that person." Over their partnership, Spotify has stood by Rogan, even though it has occasionally attempted to distance itself from his acts and remarks. And what else is keeping the host glued to Spotify? Well, it's no secret that a $250 million contract brings financial security to the table. Rogan has actually removed any potential financial uncertainty by signing with Spotify, which guarantees a steady income. Plus, this deal gives Spotify the most recognizable name in the business while simultaneously giving Rogan a reliable source of revenue. As stated to Business Insider by an industry executive, there's a certain degree of codependence here. In the words of the executive, there is a degree of codependence between Joe Rogan and Spotify. While Rogan's podcast adds significant value and influence to Spotify's platform, the streaming service provides him with the needed tools and exposure. Thus, this mutually beneficial relationship results in a win-win situation for both.